each holding a candle that symbolizes joy today. So many familiar faces I am looking at, smiling on. One of our readers I just married in September. And you all know me pretty well. For the most part, I'm all about joy. That's what being a priest is supposed to be about. Have fun, enjoy life. God, this is great. It's supposed to be one of the most important Sundays, one of the most important holidays in the Christian calendar. We are getting ready for Jesus. This is so exciting. It is supposed to be wonderful. I see Jimmy in the back with his newborn baby. Congratulations. Another amazing couple that I was honored to marry. And if my memory is the joy of a baby crying, there is nothing better than that. It is the most beautiful thing. I did an extra special blessing at that wedding on the shield of his office, on the power of who he is as a human being and what he does for a living. Chief D'Amico, would you be so kind as to join us in the front row, and be asking you to help with this homily today as well. Father, if you don't mind just holding my candle for a few minutes. It is a Sunday of joy, and I believe that with all of my heart. But the week has been horrible. It has been a week of terrible devastation. Jersey City police detective shot and killed in the midst of helping a community of faith, the Jewish community, being attacked and assaulted. 3 innocent people gunned down in a shootout that took hours, that never happens in law enforcement. Usually it's moments, maybe 2 or 3 minutes max. Hours of shooting. One of the photographs in today's paper. And the headline is horrible. The shooting timeline, moment by moment by moment of agony. I'm not gonna give dignity to any more of the photos. But one is the Catholic school right across the street with 3 bullet holes through the windows of the Advent candles that are cut out by school children. That was the beginning. Then my dear sister Nicole, who I have come to adore, who never reaches out in a panic. Nicole has started her first semester at Columbia University. And she said, there was just a student at Barnard that was just stabbed. Do you know about this? And I said, no, I don't. But of course I immediately went and found out. As most of you know, I went to seminary at Union Theological Seminary, which is on Columbia's campus, which is directly next door to Barnard College, which is the oldest academic institution for women, one of the most important centers of learning. I loved going past that campus and going onto that campus because it brought back memories of me as a kid. There was an old TV cop show that most of you don't know because I'm old, you're not. It was called Cagney and Lacey, the 2 first policewomen, and she went to Barnard. And so I was so excited, like, oh my God, look how important this place is. But let's talk about the reality. The reality, Tess majors just like you. Here for her first semester in New York City, walking through something called Morningside Park. When I was at seminary, I walked through Morningside Park every day. And even as a cop, I was aware of who I may come in contact with and maybe what I could do, but I didn't carry a gun anymore. And I still felt safe there. It's a different time in New York City. It is such a beautiful park. It's on Columbia's campus. It is absolutely breathtaking. In the center of it, you can stare up, you can see the Empire State Building. You're in the center of New York. It's beautiful. 3 kids, 13, 14, and 16. 16-year-old not apprehended yet or questioned. Why are we living in a world like that? And where does someone find joy on a Sunday? Tessa's family Detective Joe Seal's family, they're not having a joyous Sunday. But the promise isn't that every moment is joyful. The promise is that joy is to come, that we have to hold on, that we have to have something to look forward to. I did not expect to have such a full house today, of so many wedding couples that will soon be married. That is joyous and something to look forward to. But I think I would be remiss as a priest. I'd like to come up here and wave candles and incense and talk about how wonderful life is. I think I'm remiss if I don't challenge us sometimes. There has to be a bit better way. You're doing it. You're doing it. You got married September. Jimmy, you got married when? Hold in. You're coming back. That is what matters. That's the difference. You have to set the example for your own children to give. And I'm not going to be critical of that 13-year-old and that 14-year-old. Nicole is going to read the New York Times assessment of that boy. The boy with no parents. His aunt and uncle are bringing him up because they're not there. But that's what's lacking today. We're lacking something that's missing tremendously. Enough of my words now. Nicole, if you would share what the New York Times wrote about Tess. The gospel today talks about John the Baptist in prison. And John is in prison not because he was preaching the gospel, not because he was actually practicing his religion. John was in prison because he spoke the truth. He challenged the king. He said, you're not supposed to be getting married to your brother's wife. That's wrong. You have to do something that's right. He stood up. And not only did they put him in prison, but they actually executed him. And that new wife wanted his head on a plate. Jesus doesn't save him. Jesus sets the example of what we need to do to speak the truth. Sister, the New York Times.
The murder suspect walked into the courtroom Friday wearing black sweatpants, Air Jordan sneakers, and navy hoodie. He bit his bottom lip nervously as a court officer asked his name, then his age. I'm 13, he said. The deadly stabbing of an 18-year-old martyred college student, Tessa Majors, as she walked in a park near the school's Manhattan campus, has jarred New York City, recalling an era decades ago
would raise your candles for a moment for Tess. Heavenly Father, perpetual light shine upon her. And may her light shine on the world that we may find peace. Amen. Chief, would you mind standing for a moment? Chief and I started in law enforcement in the 1980s. How many years ago is that? 40 years ago? 30. I have, of course, since retired and enjoy a nice pension from the state of New Jersey. David went back to work and is now the Chief of Internal Affairs, the Middlesex County Department of Corrections. He has an unbelievable record of distinguished service. He will read the tribute to Detective Joseph Ciccone.
Detective Joseph Ciccone was shot and killed at 12:30 p.m. at Bayview Cemetery after encountering two subjects, a man and a woman, in a van that was linked to a homicide in Bayonne, New Jersey. During the encounter, Detective Ciccone was shot in the back of the head. The two subjects then fled in a stolen van and eventually barricaded themselves inside the grocery store on Martin Luther King Drive. They murdered 3 people inside the store and then engaged responding officers in a prolonged shootout for several hours in which 2 officers were wounded. Both subjects were eventually shot and killed by officers during the shootout. A live pipe bomb was later found inside of the van, and the two had abandoned before entering the store. It is believed the subjects were part of a radical religious movement, held anti-Jewish and anti-law enforcement views and sentiment, and specifically targeted the kosher grocery store in an act of religious terrorism. Detective Ciccone had served with the Jersey City Police Department for 13 years and had 7, and served in law enforcement for a total of 18, just recently being promoted to detective. He is survived by his wife and 5 children.
Please raise your candles one more time. The Detective Joseph Ciccone, who dedicated his life to the service of others. Let us pray for his family, his children, his widowed wife, and the legacy of justice he left behind. Heavenly Father, let perpetual light shine upon him. May his work be remembered always. Amen. Please keep those candles raised if you would. Father, follow me. Nicole, if you don't mind, would you get those items that we requested earlier? I have to end this sermon with some type of hope, some type of message of joy, some type of feeling that there has to be a better way.